Welcome to the Daring to Differ podcast. I am your host, Anaki. So, you will notice that my energy is a bit low today. This is simply because I was preparing for the podcast, and as I was just going through my talking points, um, I came across certain thoughts actually that I just never thought out loud, or things that I went through which I've just not gotten an opportunity to digest. And as I was writing down the talking points, it really just hurt my emotions to revisit some of these encounters in my life. And it's just interesting how we live life on autopilot, I would say. And most of the things that we've gotten through life, we have packed them at the back of our minds, especially as people who have been through the most, or as people who have gone through poverty. The hurt that we've gone through as young people, sometimes we don't vocalize it, and it just remains at the back of our mind. And for when we go through a time when we reflect, they come back. And this is just what transpired when I was preparing the episode. And very interesting. But nevertheless, today's episode, I'm going to take you on a journey where I want us to shed light on the decisions that we've made in our lives and that have changed the trajectory of our lives. Just reflect, what are those decisions, key decisions, or your aha moment that you would want to pinpoint out and say, this decision changed the trajectory of my life. And for me, this is what I'm going to share with you guys. And at the end of the day, I want us to take away that for every decision that we make, there is a possibility for it to change the entire trajectory of our life. There is a possibility for it to change how we are living today, which is probably not the best life that it is. But for when we make that decision, there will be a 360 turnaround. So the year is 2011. I am 18 years old, working at a lodge. This lodge, it's far from everybody. It's literally just me, you know. I'm at a stage in my life where I am so hopeless. I feel so stuck. My dream just got taken away from me. And this is the dream for me to go to university and start my life, basically. Build the blocks of me graduating and getting a job. That dream was taken away from me. And it was not taken away by anybody, but just because there were no resources, financial resources for me to go to school. So I am 18 years old. I feel so lost. I feel so stuck. I feel so behind. And it's so silent. It's so lonely. I cut off from everybody, basically, in a very sad moment of my life. Being a brilliant child, yet because of finances, I could not go for the next thing, which meant a lot, because going to university, the outcome is that you finish and you get a job and you become someone who is able to contribute to your family, or to at least uplift your life from moving it from one stage to another. So I did not have that opportunity. So I felt lonely. And I think this has been the saddest part of my life. And I had no contacts with anybody apart from my mom, who would check in with me and ask me, "Waterekanga, wajanga, I know the Mokurandi kuja," you know. I was like in a small world. I had no friends. It's like I just disappeared from everybody. And I had nobody calling me to just say, "How are you, Anaki?" apart from my mom. It was just a lonely journey. It was really lonely. I was on the verge of getting into depression, I would say, because I didn't know what is next. I didn't know what to do to go back and fetch my dream, which just got taken away from me. I was just 18, turning 19. But with every day, I searched for survival. And I got access to the internet. I started surfing the internet, and with every search, I landed to various pages, and with every page, I had the opportunity to read about people's stories on how to become successful. I had the opportunity to be exposed to an environment which was different from mine. I had an opportunity to dialogue with myself that I can actually get out of this poverty that we're living as a family. And the further I surfed the internet, the more articles I read. I then also got exposed to reading. Through reading, I found my teachers, I found my mentors, I found the people I could emulate from. I found the people I could copy and say that if Lisa Nichols could rebuild her life, I can also do it. If Les Brown could be so hungry and he pursued his goals, I can do the same. These were people that are older than me. I was only 18, but I spent most of my time listening to them. And I didn't know that with every investment of time I made, I was actually just changing my life. I was changing my life every day through consuming this content, be it me watching their YouTube videos, be it me reading their teachings online, because I was at a lodge. It's not like I could access books easily, because accessing books meant me going to town and buying them, but most of the information I accessed was just through reading their articles, their newsletters, and of course watching some of the content they produce via videos. So I saw the potential to change or to shift my life from where it was. But I just didn't know that it was going to take me long. As a young person, the pressure was there to make it as quick as I could so that I go back home and support my family and take them out of poverty. The responsibilities were there, but I knew about them, yet I did not have the capacity to fulfill them. The need was there. I knew that there was the need to change things at home, but I did not have the capacity to do so. So I lived in a very conflicted mind. Sometimes I have the motivation, I have the drive, I know things can get better, but the pace and the progress was very slow. So some days was a thing of me asking, is this even possible? Or am I just visualizing and dreaming, yet the results are so far-fetched? But I continued moving, I continued transforming myself. And if there's something that happened, is the identity shift. So I moved from this perception of being a girl who just grew up in the ghetto, in poverty, to being a girl who knew that there is potential to become, there is potential to tap into a different world. And I was just a few steps from becoming that person. That was only me at 19, 18. So with time, I held onto the self-help world, and it raised me. It raised me. It took me through my 20s. And it's so dear to me when I hear people say things like self-development, self-help is just woo-woo, or everybody wants to do that. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just motivation. I always dare to differ with them, because for me, self-help world is what raised me. I didn't have aunties or uncles or cousins who check in with me, or I would check in with them for us to carry each other. I didn't have mentors, physical mentors, sorry. All the knowledge I've gotten is just through the self-help world. It's through books. It's through just aspiring to become. And I did the work that needed to be done. Self-help world raised me, literally. It raised me. And that's why I will never shy away from it, and I will never move away from it. And hence I created the Daring to Differ podcast, so that I'm able to also plant the same seeds. I'm able to give back just the same way I've received from those mentors that are very far from me, that are outside this continent. Yet they transformed my life. They transformed my life in the sense that I could see that where I was, they transformed me in a way that I knew that I was born in a unique family, but I have the potential to transform where I come from. I have the potential to reach out for better things. And that is the identity shift. Simply because I made the decision to surf the internet, I made the decision to read, I made the decision to yearn for more. And because of those decisions that I've made, I am now where I am in my life today. As young people, we really go through a lot, especially in our early youth. We go through a lot. And most of the battles we have gone through are lonely battles. Are battles where it's just us and our thoughts. It's just us and our dreams. So far-fetched. But we don't know how to go about it. And sometimes not all of us have the privilege to have someone to just hold our hand and show us the way. And that's what I've realized from a very young age, that if I don't make the decision to change my life, nobody is coming to save me. Nobody is coming to save me. But for me to change my life, I needed exposure. I needed to see what it means to live differently, to have something that is better. And that exposure, I sourced it through reading. I sourced that exposure through being in environments that are so different from where I come from. I sourced that exposure through having conversations with people who do not come from similar backgrounds as mine. And I could tell, and I could learn from them. I could tell that there is nuances in how they live. in how they see life. And it was refreshing for me. I was curious. I tapped in that world. And with time, I saw their worlds, their environments getting closer to me. Sorry. So if you find yourself caught up in a world that is silent, that is taking away from you, where you feel you cannot escape, just reach out. Reach out for inspiration, reach out for motivation. As much as they say motivation and inspiration is overrated, for me, I don't believe that, because if it was not through inspiration and learning from others, I don't think it was going to change my life. I don't think my environment was going to change. But because of those decisions that I've made, I would want to say I'm now content with where I am in my life. I am happy with the transformation that I've made. But what will I do with this transformation if I'm not able to give back, if I'm not able to share my story, so that another child who's only 18 would be able to learn one or two things? What will be the meaning of my life if I'm not able to give back? Because I didn't do it alone. I did it with a community. I did it with a community. The only thing I'm yearning for was, or rather, for, not was, it's still in the present. I wish this community was a community that I'm able to talk to. It's a community that I'm able to tell in person and say, this is what you have done to me. But rather, this is rather a community that is very far from me. But I became so obsessed with them. As I said, some of these conversations, nobody knows the battles that we are going through. Nobody knows your battle of not finding a job. Nobody knows your battle of not going to school. Nobody knows your battle of being in depression, because you know the problems at home. You know that you are probably the only lifesaver in your family. It's just a metaphor, or the breadwinner. But your capacity today does not enable you, and you feel bad. You feel like you're not enough. You feel like you're not providing. Nobody knows those battles. Nobody knows those battles of feeling inadequate. Nobody knows those battles for when you feel left behind, for when you feel stuck, and when you feel like there's nothing working out. Nobody knows those battles in most cases, but only you know them. But if there's any advice I'll give you today, is to lift up yourself, access those rooms, those people that will be able to carry that burden with you. Spend as much time as you can with those people, and transformation will help. And transformation will occur with time. That's what happened to me. Transformation happened, and it changed, or it shifted my identity. And identity is very important. When you change your identity, then you will start reaching for every opportunity that you deserve, because you are now operating from a place of, I deserve this, I can do this, I have to do this, and this is also possible for me. You are no longer operating from a place of lack. You are no longer operating from a place of lack, knowing that but you're operating from a place of, I also belong in this community. Give yourself that freedom. Unlock that freedom for yourself. Nobody can do it. For me, I did it for myself. And it is possible for everybody. That's why you see in every family, there's always that one person or those two people who are doing things differently. They are doing things differently because they accorded themselves the opportunity to tap into those blue oceans, where they know that they have the capacity also, or where they rather know that they have the potential also to contribute. But only yourself, you can recognize that and start building those blocks. And once you arrive in that world of where there is no lack, nothing can stop you. You become so obsessed with your development, so much that every day you appreciate life. You appreciate life and you're like, what is that I can contribute to humanity? What is that I can contribute to humanity? That's the word I want to say. And it's a revelation that is you can't explain it. It's not tied to materials. It's not tied to environments. It's just who you are. For me, with this identity shift that has happened to me, you can take me from one environment and put me in a different environment, and I'll be able to adapt. Because something happened in my mind, and only I know. I can't even explain it, but I know something did happen in my mind. There's been a shift, and this is a shift that I want you to tap in. I'm just happy that I made that decision to want more, to yearn for more, but most importantly, to start with myself. To remove all the beliefs that I had about myself based on the environment I was born into, or the family I was born into. I removed so many chains. I believed so many possibilities, or rather I removed so many things that initially I labeled as not possible for me. And I moved those labels from not being possible to creating blue oceans for myself, or new possibilities. I didn't do it overnight. It was a journey. I'm saying it was a journey because it was a lonely journey. It's a journey where I didn't have people checking in with me. The only person I would say was my mom, who would always ask me, "Oringana wa honori?" And also, I didn't have the opportunity to really share with her what I was going through, because I also didn't want to break her heart, because she was also fighting her battles, and those battles, I knew them. If there's anything I wanted to share with her, or rather is to give her hope that I am doing something about our situation. But I just wish I had someone who would ask me, what or how are you really feeling? But that was not there. And maybe that's also how you feel today, where you feel like you're on a journey. And some journeys are just too long. Just know that I care about you. I understand what you are going through. And what you're going through will never be permanent. Things will always change. Because they did change for me. I didn't know that they're going to change. But there's always room for things to get better. But the only responsibility we have as individuals is to make those choices, is to make those decisions. And some decisions will come at a cost. And for me, the cost I had to pay. For me, the cost I had to pay was to disappear from everybody. I disappeared, being at that lodge in the wilderness for 2 years. I think it was a blessing in disguise because it was an opportunity for me to reflect and to dare myself to yearn for more. And I transformed within the 2 years. Sometimes you are thinking that you're going through hardship, but maybe it's just a medium for you to reach out for better. Or it's just an opportunity for you to realize that there is more that you can achieve. And that is what that 2 years did for me, being in the wilderness. And I'm just happy that I had to go through that. The exposure I had gotten, I was in a different world. Make that decision today. What is that you're going to do? Sorry. What is that you're going to do that will help you see things differently? For me, all I needed was maybe to be out in the wilderness. Forget about not going to university. I just needed that time to reflect and be exposed to the books I read, be exposed to the online mentors I found. Sometimes we just need to make that decision. What is the decision you're going to make today? And I said, sometimes just do it alone. My journey has been solo for the longest. And I'm happy that I decided to come up with this podcast. At least I'm now able to reflect and go back to some of the thoughts I've had, and I just never brought them to light when things changed. But only now I'm realizing that what I did was not normal. Let me dare you today to make that decision to change your life. I did it at 19, or rather 18, and where I am today, it looks different. It feels different. There's no scarcity. We are not in a battle of Ombuku fighting for our food. And you have to you have okutora iyaha so that the water can drip in. Or you don't even get visitors. Because who visits poor people? Yeah, things can change for good. I didn't know. So let me love and leave you. And this podcast, to be honest, is not relatable to most of you. But those that have been through poverty, they will be able to understand. And I'm just having this conversation with them. With that child who comes from a background where there's nothing. This is the conversation I'm having with them. Okay? So let's change our lives together. Let's create a movement of people who are daring to be different, to break those patterns, and to move away from those limiting beliefs that have held us in chains for the longest, and rather aspire and go for those opportunities that we deserve. We've always deserved those opportunities, but perhaps we didn't get them early. But now is the time we will reach for those opportunities. This is your host, Anarchy, and this is the Daring to Differ movement. Let me ask you to like this episode, subscribe on the channel or on the pod. I'll see you in the next episode.